everyone. My name is Patrick. You're watching the Oilers Rundown. Well, as I reported last night, the summer of Jeff Jackson continues. The Oilers sending Ryan McLeod and prospect Ty Talio to the Buffalo Sabres in return for prospect Matt Savoy. A huge return for the Edmonton Oilers there. He was the number 9 overall pick back in 2022. He comes in as the Oilers' new number 1 prospect. If nothing else, it gives the Oilers even more trade capital, although I don't think they'll be trading Matt Savoy. I mean, coming in, he's got a chance to be on the club here probably in a couple years. He's just turning 20, I believe. So the Oilers pretty well stacked, especially in the bottom 6, but he comes in as a right shot, has played right wing and center. It's said that he's more likely to play right wing in the NHL, so probably a possible future replacement for Victor Arvidsson. I was saying in my video last night, if he does come in as a center, a possible replacement for Adam Henrique in a couple years, but either way, if he goes down to Bakersfield, performs, there's definitely going to be opportunities for him here in the near future. The Oilers will definitely be looking for value contracts as the contract of Leon Draisaitl comes due here, and then Connor McDavid not too long after. We haven't talked too much about Evan Bouchard to this point. Daniel Nugent-Bowman of The Athletic reported yesterday, "I'm told it's unlikely the Oilers and Evan Bouchard will discuss an extension this summer. Edmonton has more pressing things to address, their GM, Draisaitl, McDavid. Bouchard has a high likelihood of building off a 5th place Norris finish and starring in the playoffs. Bouchard will be a restricted free agent next summer, so there isn't that same pressing need as there is with Leon Draisaitl, who is becoming a UFA. And speaking of Leon Draisaitl, there was reports from his agent yesterday that they're very confident that a deal is going to get done with the Edmonton Oilers. Leon Draisaitl has said multiple times that he loves being an Oiler. This is the only place really where him and Connor McDavid can play together. They're so close. They were 2 goals away from winning the Stanley Cup. I just don't know what better situation that Leon Draisaitl would be looking for where he can play with Connor McDavid, or there's some people that say he wants to go to his own team and be the star of that team. I don't know. There would be options certainly for Leon Draisaitl, but I think he seems happy at Edmonton. If his agent is speaking confidently that they're going to get a deal done, I think everything is pointing towards Leon Draisaitl re-signing with the Edmonton Oilers here, and most likely on a long-term deal. We're guessing between 13 and 15 million. I'm sticking with around 14 million when all is said and done. Daniel Nugent-Bowman of The Athletic put out an article yesterday taking a look at 7 potential candidates for the Edmonton Oilers general manager position. I chose to focus in on 4 of those candidates. I'll list out all 7 for you though, following my look here at the 4. Let's start with Sean Burke. He ran Canada's 2018 Canadian Olympic team, interviewed for the Oilers GM job in 2019, interviewed for the Vancouver Canucks GM job in 2022, and is currently the director of goaltending for the Vegas Golden Knights. I think he's someone who could come in, work with Stuart Skinner and Calvin Pickard as well, probably improve the Oilers' goaltending. He has NHL experience, he's worked with successful teams, and I think he's someone who could step in and probably take a bit of a smaller role under Jeff Jackson. Next up is Matthew Darche. As Daniel Nugent-Bowman notes in his article, Darche has seemed destined for bigger things. He's currently the director of hockey operations and assistant GM with the Tampa Bay Lightning, so he's won multiple Stanley Cups. He's interviewed for positions in Vancouver, Pittsburgh, Montreal, and Chicago. This is a highly sought-after guy. He didn't get any of the positions, so that may be a bit of a red flag, but I think it has more to do with him being very picky, wants to make sure that he's going into the right opportunity, and I think this opportunity with the Edmonton Oilers is definitely a golden one. The next name on my list is an internal candidate, Keith Gretzky, currently the Oilers' assistant GM for 9 seasons and general manager of the AHL's Bakersfield Condors. He served as an interim GM between Peter Chiarelli and Ken Holland. In that time, he traded Cam Talbot for Anthony Stolarz, moved Ryan Spooner for Sam Gagner. Definitely a strong checkmark in my book, and he pushed to sign Matthias Janmark back in 2022, and we've seen how valuable Janmark has become to the organization. Keith Gretzky has been a great evaluator, and I think out of all the Oilers' internal candidates, he has the strongest chance of taking the job. And lastly on my list, a name we've talked about plenty, Mark Hunter, current owner and GM of the OHL's London Knights. He's won the league title 5 times in the OHL, 2 Memorial Cups in the past 24 years. He served as the director of player personnel and assistant GM with the Toronto Maple Leafs from 2014 to 2018. He's credited with the Mitch Marner draft, so Hunter is going to come in with a ton of experience, a winning record. This is a guy I think would be ideal for the Edmonton Oilers GM position. He's got the connection with Jeff Jackson in the OHL circles, so I think he's someone that's pretty near the front of the list and a strong candidate to take over in Edmonton. If you were curious about the full list from Daniel Nugent-Bowman, he also lists Jason Botterill, current assistant GM with the Seattle Kraken, Stan Bowman, former GM of the Chicago Blackhawks. I'm just trying to stay away from that name. I'm hoping that just completely goes away. I do not want Stan Bowman here with the Edmonton Oilers. He also lists Brad Holland, current assistant GM with the Oilers, as another potential internal candidate that could take over. Brad Holland and Bill Scott are names that should be considered. I still have a feeling that Brad Holland ends up wherever Ken Holland ends up if Ken Holland does indeed take another job. I don't know if Ken Holland's going to get another general manager position, but plenty of teams did reach out to him after he became a free agent. So I could see Brad joining him in whichever organization he chooses to go to. But Brad Holland should be considered a candidate as well. And Bill Scott has certainly put his time in with his organization, going as far back as being the GM of the OKC Barons. So if Jeff Jackson does go internal, the Oilers certainly have some strong internal candidates, but I feel with the way the process is gone that he's probably going to go with an outside hire. Well, I think I'll wrap this video here for now, guys. Certainly more to talk about, but we've got some more time here in the summer to cover it. I'm not expecting anything else big for the Edmonton Oilers until they've put their general manager in place. I would expect that sometime next week. I don't think it's going to take Jeff Jackson too much longer to find his guy. Most teams are done with what they need to do here, and they can kind of release guys if they need to, if he's looking to hire someone from another organization. So I'd expect the GM call next week for the Oilers, but we'll see what happens here, guys. Let me know your thoughts on everything. Do you think Leon Draisaitl resigns? What do you think about the Oilers pushing off Evan Bouchard? Who do you think ultimately gets the GM job in Edmonton? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. If this is your first visit to the channel and you like what you see, please consider liking and subscribing for all the latest Oilers content. You've been watching the Oilers Fanatic. Thanks for being a fan.